Okay guys, we have had 5 inches of rain in the last few days. Let's see how the garden's faring. What I'm looking for is there any potatoes exposed, because when the rain pounds down on the earth like this, it can do things like that. Especially over here where it's already starting to lean over, and some of this crop is dying off, like right there. See that? There's one. No more there. There's a couple tubers right there that are exposed. 4. And so we'll grab those. So that's good size. But you can see the green there. It happens so quickly, guys. So what you can do is you can just cut that green part off and put it in my cart. My gorilla cart over here, and then inspect the garden a little more. Last night we had such a horrible storm go through that it felt like there was a tornado outside, and so to see the corn bent over like this is no surprise, and there's not a friend in the garden. So I need to do some spraying, but it's been literally raining so hard. It's doing the cabbage great. The cabbage is looking good. The potatoes, the onions are looking good. I've had a couple that have bent over. Now when they start yellowing like this, guys, and then you'll see them literally fold right here at the stem, that's when you know they're done. Tomatoes, doing good. Lots of weeds coming in. Just planted those 4 days ago, and those have come up, and then it looks like we have a squash that's come up right there, and hopefully we have another one come up here soon. That potato's relatively new. Some of my walla wallas are starting to swell, not totally bulb, but swell. And it looks like I need to go around and spoon again. I'm concerned about these potatoes. Let's see this, because they're starting to lean. I'm also concerned that, so if you bring out your potatoes after you've had a lot of rain, and they have a weird skin on them, that's from them sitting in water, if they don't rot altogether. So potatoes like water, but not like this much water, where we've had probably 15 inches of water in the last few days, in the last month, actually. Got some broccoli here. It's a little yellow from all the water. Oops. These are starting to swell up, so that's good. Looks like we got a bulb over there. These are sets, so I was concerned that they weren't going to bulb up at all, so that's good to see that. And these are looking fantastic and are starting to look like they're near the end of their life cycle too. The red onions are looking fantastic and in the same place as they're starting to wind down, so you're seeing a little yellowing, and the side leaves are starting to die off. But when they bend, that's when you pick them. So you see if there's any side shoots on this broccoli. Okay, and again, they're a little yellow, so that can mean that it needs more nitrogen if it wasn't raining so much. Now, because we've had so much rain, that doesn't necessarily mean that we need more nitrogen. It means maybe that it's just starving a little bit for oxygen. We have some peas on here, and I think those are going to fatten up a little bit soon here, and then we'll harvest those. And then this again is collards. We've got 3 collards left that we're feeding the chickens, and so that's good. So as soon as these collards come out, I'm going to be planting something else. Actually, I have been throwing seed in there, and then hopefully I can stake this corn up, and it's a little, the roots of this corn is a little starving for oxygen too. Everything is kind of in that same place. We're going to let this lettuce bolt here. All the lettuce that we have left in the garden, we are going to let bolt, and so that we can collect the seed. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So these flowers will attract some really nice pollinators. So I'm looking forward to the mullein flowering in here. Such an interesting plant, guys. And so many properties. I actually have a video that I need to watch that my sister-in-law sent me on mullein, so that we can figure out. I get itchy from touching it, so it's supposed to help with allergies, but yeah. So because it's rained so much again, we need to weed, and we have all kinds of weeds coming up, but the carrots are starting to grow there pretty good. Not quite ready yet, but looking fantastic. The greens are fantastic on them, and you can tell that it's rained really hard because everything's just kind of laying down. The squashes are loving this weather. Tomatoes are struggling a little bit. Take that sucker out of there and that sucker out of there. The suckers are doing well inside. They wilted really bad at first when I brought them inside, but they're doing okay. So it looks like we're getting some tomatoes on here. And we have violas, wild ones, growing up right here. And look at this, guys. A couple more tomato plants, free from probably Astro, our dog. But this is a lot of these so-called weeds along here are violas. See there? So, and they're growing wild, so I guess I could take them out of here and put them in my front flower bed, but they do grow wild and crazy here, so we'll just leave them alone, along with those freebie tomatoes. And isn't this amazing? Look at this artichoke here. Now, if you look closely, look at what little beauty, 2 beauties coming up in our artichoke plant. 1, 2 heads. Now, artichokes only bloom on their 2nd year. So you need to either bring the plant inside, like Garden Answers does, or you need to make sure that it fares through your winter somehow. This did. I should have covered it up, but I didn't, and it still fared through our winter here. But doesn't that look gorgeous? Now this, we're gonna let flower. I like artichokes, but the rest of the family doesn't. And I think once we get a lot going, then we'll let them, then I'll take some each year. But this is the first year of it flowering, so I'm gonna let it go and go to flower. And I have a couple small ones in here too. And hopefully this will continue to expand and grow. I might have to take some of this mullein down around here, even though this mullein looks like it's gonna flower too and just be beautiful. And then, so that's happening. Now, we have another artichoke over here. And it's a 2-year artichoke, but it was really stunted by the winter we had. So that is not gonna go to flower, I don't think, this year. But our mullein will be flowering this year, and I look forward to that. And then I cannot show you guys my garden and then leave the weeds that need to be picked. There we go. And then this mullein is going to flower, and this mullein going to flower. So let's go check on those baby chickens and see how they're doing. Okay, there we go. Everybody's alive and well. Our turkeys are happy and fine. Still haven't figured out what kind of chicken that is. If anybody has any idea, it's not a meat chicken, it's a regular chicken. So beautiful coloring, and it's probably a rooster, which means it's not going to last long here on the homestead. I already have too many roosters. But if it's a chicken, that's fantastic. So here we go. Here's our chicks. We have 16 of them, of our meat chickens, and 2 turkeys and 1 just regular chicken. So there you go. And it's very common to lose meat chickens, unfortunately. And one of the things that I maybe need to do is to add some grit next to their food so that they get that grit and they're eating that grit, and they can process their food, even though the fermenting's supposed to do that. So maybe the pieces that we're getting from their food are just a little on the large side and are not getting broken down well enough without some grit in their diet. So if I have time today, I'll try that, and hopefully we won't lose any more birds. To lose 2 birds isn't the end of the world. It's kind of the name of the game with meat birds, unfortunately. So back to work. Thank you for watching today. As always, God bless. We'll see you next time here on Hedgehog's Homestead.